we are back at the Grand Hotel here on Mackinac Island during the 2026 Mackinac Policy Conference. Southeast Michigan leaders are reimagining what regional transit can look like in a modern economy, from better connectivity and workforce access to smarter technology and long-term infrastructure investment. Ben Stupka is the executive director of the Regional Transit Authority of Southeast Michigan. Ben, hey.
Hey.
Great to have you here.
Happy to be here.
So when people think about transit in Southeast Michigan, they often think county by county, right? How is the RTA working to build a more connected regional transportation system?
Sure. So, it starts with our mandate. We're a 4-county agency, so we cover all of Wayne, Oakland, Macomb, and Washtenaw counties. We work with all the major transit providers in those counties. So you think about the Ride in Ann Arbor, SMART in the suburban areas of Metro Detroit, DDOT in the city, the Q Line, the People Mover, a bunch of community providers. So we cover all the regions, the entirety of that region, and we work on issues that connect all those folks together. We provide all the funding to support them, at least from the federal and state level. And then we really work to identify where are those gaps in the regional system and at that scale, and we move forward the projects that close those gaps.
So give me an example of a gap right now and what you're working on.
So one of our proudest accomplishments that we just brought online last year was the transit app. So amongst all those transit providers in the region, there was no single place where a rider could go to find information about how to use transit, how they could plan their trip, real-time information, or an ability to actually pay for transit. So we partnered with a company called the Transit App and brought a upgraded version of that app to the region. So anybody in the 4-county region can open the Transit App, download it for free, get information about any transit service that's available, pay for it through the app, get real-time information. So that's a partnership that was made possible with funding from the state. And we did it in partnership with everybody. So that's just one of the gaps that we're trying to close, that information gap for people.
How is technology changing or helping connectivity?
So that's obviously a really good example.
Yeah.
The other thing that we're really working on is trying to create multiple ways for people to pay for transit. So we're always going to need cash payment options. That's a lot of our customer base. But how can we use more modern payment technology? So whether that's a mobile payment, using credit cards, different things like that. And then certainly looking at propulsion technology. So you're looking at things like electric buses, hydrogen buses, all those types of things. Starting to talk a little bit about autonomous vehicles or connected vehicle technology. Right now, we own and operate the Q Line streetcar. We're working in partnership with MDOT to install some new technology that will allow for collision avoidance. So alerting the driver if something's getting too close or something's behind them. So that's just one example of partnering with a state agency, piloting, and they work with us in the Q Line to say, hey, if you guys, we're going to try this on one streetcar. If it works, let's see if we can deploy it further than this.
Speaking of the state, Michigan recently approved a really historic transportation budget. What opportunities does that create for Southeast Michigan? And where do you think additional investment, particularly when we're thinking about regional transport, is still needed?
Yeah, absolutely. So that created an opportunity in 2 areas. One, a really, really critical area that we're still talking about is operational funding. So the lifeblood of any public entity, but certainly transportation, is our operators and our mechanics. People are out there delivering the service. The state of Michigan provides a pretty good basis for that. They provide 28 to 30% of the operating funding for not only our Southeast Michigan providers, but providers throughout the state. So there was historic levels put into that last year. We're hoping that's repeated here in this budget that we're talking about now. The other piece, and the more unique piece, is they created a brand new transformational investment infrastructure fund. Sorry, I should call it. We talk in acronyms a lot in transportation, so I want to call it IPATH, which no one's going to know. But that is an ability to make infrastructure investments transformational in scale. So we're thinking about things like expanding and improving our express bus systems, looking at corridor projects and bus rapid transit, maybe potentially modernizing our fare system. So that's an opportunity for the state to invest in really pushing us to the next level. So we're excited. We have the first year of that funding available to us right now. That's a 10-year program. So we're really we're working together with all of our partners in the region to come up with some great projects to make those investments now.
It really sounds like you have an idea of where the needs are. Do stakeholders here at the conference have that same idea, or are you doing some messaging?
Well, we're always doing messaging, but I do think that we have a really solid alignment with our regional stakeholders as to where the needs are. They are vast in terms of what we need for transit. I think a key initiative, Wayne County is talking about expanding their transit millage to cover the remainder of their county. So think about communities like Livonia and Canton. From our regional perspective, that connection between Western Wayne County and Washtenaw County, and certainly Detroit and Western Wayne County, all the jobs available there, that's a huge gap. So that's an area where the county is stepping up in leadership, and then really being able to use these transit investments we're talking about now to get more people to the system, to connect more folks, give them different types of rides, is just something we're continuing to look at.
Tell me about the transit option millage.
So the Wayne County millage is going to be on the ballot in August. And the idea here is to spread kind of the local service out into Western Wayne County. So you're talking about tens of thousands of jobs that are not connected, hundreds of thousands of people that don't have that connection. Again, from our perspective, connecting Wayne and Washtenaw County. So it's an absolutely essential piece of the puzzle to put together to build our regional transit system. And I think that's really an important thing that we've learned over the last several years, is that the region is wide and vast, and there's lots of different constituencies, and we really have to build this one piece at a time, one puzzle piece at a time, different types of modes for different types of people. So we've really embraced trying to find what are different communities' needs, what kind of funding do they need, what kind of services do they need. So this Wayne County effort is really a huge piece of the puzzle.
It is, and we were talking earlier about the fact that this isn't just a conversation about transportation. This is a conversation about the economy.
Absolutely.
Do you think folks understand that?
I think they do. I think I'll say this, anybody who owns a small business where there's not frequent and reliable transit service certainly understands the desire and the need, the necessity for their employees to be able to have a reliable way to get to work. Anybody who's in the economic development space that's tried to attract any scale of employer, whether that's large or small, to their county or to their local municipality, and that employer wanting to say, hey, what's your transportation solution for us, absolutely understands it, because we usually will get a call once they've attracted the employer to say, hey, can you run a bus route over here? And we're like, well, maybe we should plan beforehand to do that work. So I think people absolutely understand that it's essential for our economy moving forward.
Looking ahead, let's say 5 or 10 years, what does success look like for regional transit in Southeast Michigan? I'm thinking especially as communities think about mobility and development and population growth.
Yeah, I think that having a regional solution that we can point to and say, here's what we're able to offer. So again, whether that's attracting conferences, new businesses, retaining businesses, and really being clear about these are the services we have to offer. I think one of the keys that we can really bring to bear is options. Often we think about the transit solution as like a monolith. We're going to do one thing, and it's going to be buses that look like this or whatever it may be. We have the opportunity actually kind of customize and provide people all kinds of different options. Our partner Smart in the suburban area of Metro Detroit have a flex service option in about 5 different suburban areas, which is essentially like an Uber-like service that picks people up and drops them off for $2 within a zone. That's the type of thinking that combines the technology we talked about earlier with the types of trips people need to make in our more spread out suburban areas. So connecting those types of things in. We have lots of partnerships with local communities that partner with seniors, provide services for seniors and people with disabilities. Those can run through senior centers. They can run through local governments. So those are also transit options. So we're really trying to provide a lot of different options for people.
You've got your eyes on the future, Ben. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.